innovation is a very broad canvas. It's about the way we do things. It's about many things that have to do with low tech or disco-tech as well as high tech, okay? Now, innovation also has to do with our responsibility to the young. You will discover over the next 2 days that I am personally obsessed right now with the opportunity to create new kinds of learning opportunities for kids who want to be innovators or who in fact are innovators. You know, I'm working right now with a girl in San Francisco, I'll tell you more about her later, who at the age of 8 raised $1 million to free child slaves around the world. 8 years old, $1 million. Her father just quit his job and is working for his daughter now. Okay? So this is something new, and again, it's partly the internet as the amplifier, but it's also the idealism of the young, which I think is going to be one of those things that will save us as civil society. That the passion and the idealism of the young is a very underutilized resource. And of course, generally speaking, and President Piñera talked about, you know, we all want innovation for our society. And as someone that's worked 30 years in the innovation area, teaching it and trying to do it, if you want innovation, you need innovation leadership. If you want innovation leaders, you need innovation learning, right? But that begs the big question of how do you do it? There's not very much good learning material out there, not very much good curriculum. It's certainly not taught in schools, but if you want it, that's something that has to happen, and why not have it start very young? Now, my final point, because this is meant to be, how to put this, kind of like an amuse-bouche, you know, like a little startup thing for us today, is that innovation has a lot to do with discipline as well as freedom. And it has a lot to do with building capabilities, not just wishing for it or having a culture. So the way I like to illustrate this is with music, right? So music will be a little bit of a theme over the next couple of days as well. And here's my example for you. So let's say you're fans of old standard jazz tunes. Some of you I know are. I can tell the demography in here. So you know that some of you know this old tune, All the Things You Are, right? And this is sheet music, right? So the little black things are notes, and they tell you where to put your fingers on the keys. And then, you know, if this were a piece by Chopin, it might say, you know, mezzo forte, which means medium loud, might give you a mood like agitato, and it will tell you even where to put your foot down on the pedal of the piano. If you've ever seen piano music, there are little stars at the bottom of each line of music, and that's to tell the piano player where to put their foot down on the pedal, where to take it off. So this is like being in school and having the teacher tell you, okay, now we're going to study algebra, right? I'm going to give you the sheet music, you're going to study it, you're going to play it perfectly, right? Or it's in a company. The boss says, here's the plan, and you say, okay, and you follow the plan, right? Now, that's interesting and probably somewhat useful, but in musical terms, if I take this tune and I play it, this is the tune. That's the version if I went to the store and bought the notes and now I played it. Now, some of you actually might have liked that. I don't think there would be too many. And for you, I'd be happy to play it again, right? So I'll vary the emotion. I'll phrase it differently. So you get my point. The sheet music, the structure, does not allow any freedom. I'm just here to deliver the notes. You give me input, I give you output. That's exactly what... The sheet music is a control system for the music. However, there is another kind of music which is called jazz, which is music that is created in the moment. And it always starts with a song, like All the Things You Are, but in fact it requires you to create new notes in the moment that hopefully have some value, that hopefully sound good. So I brought some robot musicians with me, and I hope we can hear them. Louder, please. So I'm going to take the same tune. So, you know, it's just a quick demonstration, but I didn't rehearse that. I didn't practice that. There was no sheet music for that. So I'm showing you a capability, right? Capability to create new notes that have some value. Nobody ran out of the room with their hands over their ears, you know, or kind of passed out because they didn't like it. So if I were to go, you know, pick on my friend Lorraine here and say, Lorraine, you know, we're going to have a great project. Actually, I'm going to change the program, and instead of talking about the State Department's agenda, you're going to play a jazz piano solo. And I'm going to do all the things that a good manager does. You know, I'm going to say, Lorraine, you can succeed. We're going to take all the risk out of the situation. We're going to applaud. We're going to give you a sheet that has all the numbers where you put your fingers on the keys. You can play this great piano, which was supplied by Yamaha for our summit. Did I say I was going to encourage you and make you believe you could succeed? I'll show you in our value statement where, you know, you can take these kind of, do these kinds of things and create new notes, and we'll have a night, everybody will applaud. And, you know, what's my point? My point is that unless Lorraine has been practicing in secret for about 10 years, right? And unless she's been doing, you know, or in the case of jazz, you know, unless she understands jazz harmony and jazz history and has put in her time, she won't be able to do it, right? So there's an aspect of practice to develop capabilities, which is different from most of what most managers talk about. Most managers say, I'm going to support you, encourage you, culture, eliminate risk. All of that is important. But if you have not figured out the core practice, whether you're a company or a country, to get you to innovation. You know, it could be user-centered design, prototyping, certain kinds of market sensing, certain types of R&D. I don't care what it is. The point is not what it is, but the point is that you are practicing something that leads to a hard capability. Otherwise, in a way, I don't mean to downplay it, but it's kind of like hand-waving. Oh yeah, it's important. We got to do it. It says in the value statement that innovation is really important. That does not get you very far. It gets you into the mood for innovation. But the actual practice involves choices. You know, Malcolm Gladwell talks about 10,000 hours, that you, to master something, you have to invest 10,000 hours. And when I work with people in government or people in the corporate world, I always ask them this question, you know, what is the capability you're trying to develop, or what have you invested 10,000 hours in that you can tell me about? And, you know, very often the answer is turning to somebody else and saying, well, what do we have? Right? So we are in a position here to develop an agenda for Latin America, to define capabilities, to chart our course towards the future, and to create something really special. Latin America, to me, is a very exciting part of the world. You know, it's not an accident that over the last 5 years, I've been to Chile about 8 times, I've been to Brazil a lot, I've been to Peru, I've been to Colombia. You know, I've come here a lot more than other parts of the world where I have options to go as well. And the reason is, to me, this is a real hotspot. And it is a continent of destiny, and there is a tremendous amount to be done, and a tremendous set of opportunities to leapfrog. You know, this is with a tip of the hat to Raul Rivera, whose great book I read again on the plane coming down. You know, if you take Google Maps and you just look at the hemisphere, and you forget about all those kind of ethnocentric Mercator projection maps, South America, Latin America is huge. And this is also the huge opportunity, I think, for Latin America as well, in the innovation area, is to leapfrog, not just kind of follow the playbook of advanced societies and the innovation, not to copy Singapore, not to, you know, look at how the US does it. Take that all as information, right? But we're here to set an agenda for Latin America's strategy within this evolving innovation world. We're here to define specific areas of interest that realistically all of you might get involved in doing something about. I don't really care as much about learning over the next 2 days as about doing. You know, when I went to Melbourne, you know, I don't even know if Terry, our friend from Australia, knows this, but I came through Sydney Airport, and you know, you have to fill out the form that says occupation. And I never know how to fill that out. If you know anything about me, you know it's hard. So I wrote in the occupation line, innovation activist. Innovation activist. And the guy looked at me and he said, "What's that? Are you, is this some subversive activity?" And I wanted to say yes, but I also wanted to get into Australia. So I explained, all right? But what I want to say to all of you is that you are innovation activists for the next 2 days and hopefully far beyond. So we are here to do things. We are here to define specific areas of interest. We're here to define a narrative, a story for Latin American innovation. And we're here to create a community that hopefully will last long after tomorrow's session, final session, is over. So again, welcome. It's great to see all of you here. We've got a lot of work to do, and the first piece of work we're going to do is take a 30-minute coffee break, and then I'm going to come back and explain the agenda for the rest of the day. Do we turn it back over to you, or? I think I have to go. That's right. Before the break. Okay. So the other thing about jazz is we improvise, right? All right. And you'll see in the program we're going to be doing some improvisation as well. So it's my great pleasure to introduce you all to the minister.